Playing with our little cars.
Well, sort of.
We are actually going to take what's in this car and consume it.
But first, we're going to review this whiskey.
And that's what we do because it's second pour.
Yeah, and we're going to do that when?
Right after this. Welcome to Second Pour. I'm Zane.
And I'm Jeff.
And today, Jeffrey, I think we got some fun stuff coming.
Yeah, some stuff coming is going to be this 7-year aged Jim Beam Black. That's what we're doing today.
That's what we're going to do. So
we're not doing anything else really
we're
exciting. We're just, oh wait. They also have this little dusty thing here.
That's right. This is Dusty thing, which was bottled in the
1970s.
In the 1970s.
And then put in this in 1983. And we're going to compare it today to this Jim Beam 7-year and this 100-month Jim Beam, which is a little over 8 years.
And here's the cool part. You can't see us do that just yet because we have to go through the review process of
this
what
right
we're comparing
here
it to.
before we can compare it.
So I say we just open that up, pour it up, go through our rigmarole. Let's get this on.
All right, so this is a Jim Beam Black.
Which just came out.
It just came out not too long ago. It's a 45% ABV, 90 proof. Its mash bill is at least 51% corn, but it's not officially disclosed.
Yeah, well.
We're thinking it might be the 75, 13, 12. So 75% corn, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
It's aged 7 years. It says so on the damn bottle.
And so therefore, everything they put on the bottle is absolutely true.
Yeah, and it is distilled and bottled by James B. Beam Distilling Company.
All right, let's do it.
I said that without my glasses. Are you impressed?
I am impressed.
Yeah, I'm pouring this.
Yeah, pour it.
I'm pouring this.
Do I need this glass?
Well, you need a glass that you want some Jim Beam in.
There we go.
There you go. That's good. You want?
Yeah. Now, to be fair, Jim Beam does really good. Yeah, Mr. Producer threw one in here.
And he shows back up in the studio. Now he wants whiskey.
Yeah, go figure.
Man,
You know,
I'm glad he brought this bottle.
I sure am. Yes.
So what do we normally do on this?
Well, we go through a process. We have a process where we snort the whiskey, we taste the whiskey, and then we talk about the finish of the whiskey. But in between each one of those, we go through what we get out of it, and then we compare it to what
the professionals say.
What the distiller has to say.
The professionals?
The problem with the distiller, see, they're just with their own product. They don't spread out as much.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, so
We're
they're not
spreading our stuff.
I can say this much is we've been around the block or two.
Shit, I've been around a couple of blocks.
Hand me them glasses.
Speaking of blocks, let's smell this whiskey.
All right.
Nice and oaky Jim Beam.
Yeah.
Right? But
it might even have a little bit of green apple built into that smell too, a little bit.
Yeah, I see where you're getting at.
It smells very matured, very solid.
Now, I guess standard Jim Beam's, 2 to 4 years probably, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's... So this is going to be a little extra in the...
A little longer in the barrel, right?
Yeah, so... Man, it smells great.
No, I mean, did we say that this is a $24.99 whiskey too?
Oh, I mean, there you go.
That's a really cheap bargain whiskey.
Cheap bargain whiskey.
And it's Jim Beam. But Jim Beam makes great products.
Yes, they do.
So what are you smelling again?
I'm getting an apple. I'm getting a little bit of a spice too as well, but that'll probably be your rye. If you're guessing it's the 13%.
If you're guessing that, I mean, sure it is. That means you're getting pickle, but it's not a high rye.
No.
High rye, you won't get the pickle,
no,
right?
I'm not. But I definitely am getting that green apple. I really like that smell. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I can see the apple that you're talking about. But it's like Granny Smith.
And you get the oak. You get the oak that you're expecting.
I'm getting a lot of vanilla, a lot of caramel though mixed in with that.
The use.
You know, you could say this is like a caramel apple on a stick.
Hey, you could.
Yeah.
Smells like it.
Well, what do they say?
I don't know. I can't read that far.
Oh, hang on. They say it's full-bodied, soft, sweet vanilla cream, maple, and green grain. Green grain. Is that like before hay dies?
That's pretty good. Maybe so.
Green grain. That's like a wide open space to hang out in.
And they're like, well, it smells like green grain. You know,
Green grain.
like
So,
barley and corn and
when they're green.
rye. Right out the field.
When they're green, which means they're not ready for any kind of harvesting, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what happens when like cattle eat too much green grain?
Yeah, great green globs of
Yeah.
greasy, grimy cow shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Are we talking this is going to smell like cow patty? Oh my God.
Okay, so I don't really...
There's not green grain.
No,
Come on.
hang on. Think about this for a second. You can almost get like kind of that cut green grass kind of pasture-y kind of scent out of the back end of that.
Maybe like when you're just putting up hay.
When it's
After
not,
you cut it.
When it's not dead yet.
It's not dead yet. Getting green.
You know what I'm gonna do?
I bet we should taste this.
Let's taste this.
All right.
It's smooth.
It's smooth. Definitely has the barrel flavor.
But I noticed just as I was going to drink it, there's another scent that I picked up, but it's not flavor, but the scent.
It's almost like green grain.
No, it's not the green. I taste a shitload of corn. I mean, I'm talking like a pack full of corn. That makes sense of it being like at 75%.
Yeah, but
I really do taste a load of corn on this. I remember one time, this is...
Yeah,
we're
for
talking,
sure.
We're talking about Jim Beam, but I've been at like the Jack Daniel's distillery, right? And we've
Yeah.
gotten to where we take some of that corn mash.
Yeah.
And this is what it's telling me. It's like cream corn kind of. It's that kind of strong corn.
yeah, but then there's also something different within the flavor. Something like I'm gonna call it like an unfinished.
That's that green grain.
That's by that green grain. It's a little unfinished.
Amber green grains waving to be free.
Yeah, there we go. I mean, we're kind of getting these flavors.
I feel like it's kind of a pretty generalized baseline for the flavor.
Yeah.
It's not a bad flavor. It's just
It's just the
baseline
usual.
whiskey, right?
It's wood oak, some
a little
sort
bit
of
of sweetness to it.
Yeah, I agree. It does have a high corn flavor, like a.
I kind of ruined it for you when I did that.
Yeah, I
didn't I?
kind of did.
I just kind of shot that one right in the foot on you, didn't
Yeah.
I? I'm sorry.
Wait, what do they say it's supposed to taste
Oh,
like?
you want me to see what they say?
Yeah.
You want me to look at the professionals?
Yeah, let's go look at it.
Oh, I'm gonna look at it. They say rich oak, vanilla, and caramel. I mean, that's basic whiskey.
And it's just whiskey.
It's basic whiskey. But, realize this is budget whiskey.
It is budget.
It is built to meet the masses where they're at.
But the budget thing is like, do you budget whiskey at 7 years?
No.
And that's the whole thing. That's why you're asking for something else in there.
You're hoping, since it's a little $5 more than the $19.99 price tag,
Yeah.
you're asking for a little bit more.
So I'm gonna take another swallow, and then we're gonna discuss the finish.
Okay, let's do that. Honestly, I feel like the finish is kind of a medium, little lingering finish. It's not a long finish. It's not a really sharp finish.
It's a medium finish because that corn flavor continues to rest in the mouth.
It hangs out there, right?
Yeah.
I feel like the corn
Yeah.
part of that, it's like you think for 7 years in there, it would picked up a little bit more of the oak, but I feel like the corn kind of fights over that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really in kind of corn whiskey, if you really love corn whiskey, I think this probably would get you pretty excited.
All right. So what do they say the finish is?
They say smooth, full-bodied oak finish. These are all generalized, I feel like, tasting notes.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, that's why you come to us,
Yeah, because
the experts,
we do crazy stuff like open up an old Dusty.
and because we're gonna tell you what you're really gonna be tasting.
Yeah.
There's an oiliness to the corn, by the way.
It sticks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it hangs in the palate.
Yeah.
It sticks to your mouth.
So if that's your cup of tea, this actually might be really good for you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's up the ante on this a little bit. We have
Okay.
this old Dusty here that David bought a few years ago.
Yeah.
Last week we did the whole episode about the cars.
Yeah.
And we kind of held on to this thing, gosh, at least a couple years now.
Yeah.
We felt like now it's probably a good time that we've come back. This is a good time to maybe crack this open. So one thing I do know about this car is it's never been opened. The original tax stamp is still intact.
That is incredible.
So I guess Jim Beam's made a ton of these, not a car specifically, but they make these ceramic collectibles.
Yeah.
And this back in 1983. It says here it is an 80 proof, 100 months old, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, bottled by James B. Beam Distilling in Claremont Bean, Kentucky.
We're gonna taste this before we rate this?
We're gonna taste this before we rate this.
All right, let's do this.
Because I think it'll help us rate this. Because think about it, when this was distilled back in 1970s.
Right. This was just their run-of-the-mill flavoring.
But this was a different master distiller than that master distiller today.
Oh, sure.
So it's kind of like you're gonna find out if what it was like back in the 80s compared to today. But I also have heard that 80s Dusty's bourbon hit way different than today.
Well, that does because it probably like has like asbestos in it or something.
All right, so this has never been unsealed. This is like the Indiana Jones thing, right?
Yeah.
Where they go into the...
I'm hoping it just doesn't all run out of there.
I gotta have, hang on, I'm gonna try to cut the seal. Okay, the seal has now been cut. Oh, all right. It's open. You wanna smell it?
I don't know.
I've never smelled a car's ass before, but...
It's already leaking out.
It's just trying to a little bit. It smells like whiskey.
Does it smell like whiskey?
You smell it?
Yeah, just hold it. I've never smelled a car ass before, but I just
Hang
can
on, I'm
say
gonna send
I
this
have.
over to David. He's gotta smell it.
Yeah.
I don't know why he made that weird noise though before you. Oh, I did get some on hand just now. Well,
All right.
I think pouring this thing's gonna be tricky, so I'm gonna take this little cab off because it keeps little things. This is an old car, guys. It's like one of the old Avon cars. Hope it's not Avon inside it. This does not look like it's easy to pour. All right, we're stopping there.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, give me David's glass.
Hey, yeah.
One more.
That's a good color.
Well, I want to compare it to the color of the other one too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let me put the lid back on this one. I don't want to ruin it now. Man, I can't get the lid back on. We may have to drink this whole bottle.
Boy, that might be a shame.
All right, we'll put that back there.
All right.
Put all the parts back on it. So,
Presentation-wise, that is a 200%.
pour a little bit of the black again. We're gonna need a little bit for comparison. Obviously.
All right. So,
I need a little bit more than that, just so you can see.
pour it a little bit so you can see. I don't need that much. Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Okay, I think the first thing we need to do is just compare color, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so this one, it is way darker.
It's way darker.
Way darker than...
Yeah, the old
No,
one,
it's not super dark. It's just...
the old one's like a little darker. It doesn't have as much clarity.
This thing's like, feels like this is a lot of corn and this is a lot of caramel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so now let's nose like we normally would.
So this smells like a really good. Okay, I'm gonna go back into this. Now, that's so different.
Now let's clarify. It has been in a ceramic sealed container for 40 years, 41 years.
Yeah, dude.
So, and it's almost a 50-year-old whiskey at this point.
Yeah, right.
Now it didn't age anymore in that car.
Of course it didn't, but that's not the point. We're just saying that it's a time capsule.
I get a lot more caramel
Yeah,
on this, right?
yeah. There's a lot more.
And maybe it's in my head, but I feel like there's this little dustiness to it, though. Kind of feels like I'm unearthed something.
Yeah, this one definitely has that. It's a.
An older smells older.
It smells older. It smells like what you'd expect for, maybe a little pricier bourbon, off the shelf for today's standards. It smells like something you'd be paying a little bit more money for, maybe. Whereas this one smells like your $30 peanutty.
I will say that there seems to be, I feel like the alcohol, smells brighter in this. So it smells like there's a lot more in it. Like if this is a 90 proof, or let's say this is a 90 proof and this is an 80 proof, it smells like this would be the 80 proof and this old stuff is 90 proof.
Yeah, maybe so. And they're saying this is 80 proof.
Oh, I'm suspect that old Jim Beam from back in the 1980s was 80 proof.
Well, that's what it says.
Yeah, it says 80 proof. That's what I was trying to tell you.
40 ABV for all of y'all that need ABV.
40 ABV. That's what I said. Hey, I didn't get my glasses on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I smell the typical oaken caramel, what you expect from a bourbon. Classic smell. Why aren't we tasting this?
I think there's a part of me that thinks like, do we have 911 on the dial? All right, let's do this.
Let's do this. All right, you going for it?
Yeah, I'm going for it.
It's like a green grain.
No. It's like an old grain. I feel like I just drank my grandma.
Listen, there was a lot going on in that first sip.
Okay, give me some notes you're picking up.
Okay, it's to be more of a what should be a spice,
but it's dull.
But it's dulled out.
Yeah.
There is a caramel liqueur.
There's a high liqueur.
There's a caramel liqueur.
There's a high liqueur part to this.
Kind of blends with the finish being very quick, but it's got this. It does have like a woodsy flavor. It's
kind of like if you get down on a wood floor, right?
And you lick it.
No, you don't lick it, but you kind of pick up those scents of something that's been around a while, like an old 80, 100-year-old wood floor. You pick up some of that. I feel like there's a dusty note in that. I think it's just from age. And then mixed in there is kind of this old wood, like old sap, old tannin.
Yeah.
Tinge to it. It's not bad.
No, but it does have a lot of oils because it does have a lot of legs to it.
The interesting thing is, it still functions and tastes like a bourbon.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just kind of functions and tastes like a really old bourbon.
Like the more it sits in your glass, the older it smells. It's being sealed doesn't mean, and supposedly it doesn't age anymore.
But it changes the way that one drinks.
Yeah, that's. Oh, really? Did you already do that?
It changes the way that one drinks. Then you go back to this one.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I just tasted all corn.
Yeah, and there's not that in this.
Yeah, there's not that in the old one.
I feel like the heat on this lingers a little bit sharper.
Yeah.
And the heat on this is a little duller. And this is the new.
Yeah, this is the new.
This is the old 40-year-old.
And it just tastes like corn. After drinking this.
They definitely, flavor profile wise, they're completely. You would never say these are the same two whiskeys.
Oh, no way.
Now, I get that this is 7, this is an 8. I get those things. I understand that. But historically, mash bills for historic whiskey, like something like Beam, this is like their entry-level whiskey. That's what this is.
This should have been an entry-level whiskey.
So the entry-level, they should be kind of coming into a similar space. But I think either A, something's happened over time in the ceramic bottle.
There's a definite difference in how the master distiller decides what they want it to taste
like. Whoever's doing the tasting back then on this compared to here, the flavor profile of us, the consumer, has changed.
Well, I guess, because this is me in a nutshell, like what I would prefer.
Really?
And this is like what I don't prefer when it comes to, because I would prefer not that much of the corn flavor.
I'm just trying to figure out where I would lean on this. I mean, I feel like there's a part of me that does like the new a little bit more than this.
Really?
And I think it's just because it's that tinge that
you like the brighter flavor palette?
I think the brighter flavor palette, because there's this tinge of something. Now, I could be completely wrong. I mean,
that's your opinion. You're not wrong on that. I think that's a fair judgment. I'm you know how much I love corn whiskey.
I think the rye in this, in the old 40, is higher.
Oh, I would agree.
Do you smell it?
Yeah, well,
it's coming out more as it sits.
And you also have more of the spice. So there you go.
Okay, well, I say we review both. We've already talked about the notes and all that. So here's my inside is the new and my outside is the old.
Yeah, same here. All right.
No, this is the new and that would be the old.
Well, I know.
New old. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the way you're looking at it. I got you. You make sense now. No, okay, that works too.
My outside, his outside is
Or the old. The 40-year-old. Okay, so let's look at the Jim Beam Black 7-year.
Yeah, all right. It's all right. I mean, I'd be pushing it to give it a 2-finger.
Really?
I think it doesn't strike my flavor palette.
Based on other Jim Beam
Yeah,
products?
because I think I've had a lot of Jim Beam, and this one just doesn't seem to
Hit the way you...
hit that way I want it to.
And you were wanting more of that out of a 7-year.
Yeah, I want more of that in a 7-year. So, I mean, I'd push it to a 2 because it doesn't suck or anything. It's just not my cup of tea.
It's not like it's a good bottom shelf entry level whiskey. I think it doesn't defer itself much different than standard Jim Beam.
No, I don't think so either. And
So I think if you
price point being everything too.
it's still about the same really. So it's only like $4 or $5 more.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe a regular Jim Beam might be $16.99 in some markets.
Yeah.
But so I give it a 2. I agree with you on that. I completely think that's a 2 whiskey. Now, 41-year-old Jim Beam from 1970s, right? Bottled in 83, produced 8 years before 83. That would make it, 1975?
Yeah, that's right. If your math is correct, which it always is.
Not always, but 1975. So that was 2 years after, we won't talk about that. It was 2 years after what?
Somewhere around when the movie Black Hole was made. No, actually, it was not.
Well, I don't know. I can't even begin to name a movie in 1975, but I don't know. This is a hard sell for me.
That's a hard sell? As in you like it so much less than a 2-finger whiskey that's like came out just this year?
I don't know if I would give it, I don't know if I would give it a 3.
So here's what I was gonna say. I had a hard time giving this a 2.
Yeah.
It was right at the cusp, but it was better than a 1. This is better than a 2 by a long shot to me. This is bourbon.
I feel like this opens up the longer it sits out.
Yeah, this is bourbon. This is like classic kind of smells, taste. There's kind of that urea smell with it too, though. You picked that up? What is that?
That's that tinge I'm telling you about.
And that's probably that old wood.
I think it's that old wood. I think if you like those, I think if you like those double oaks.
Well, I do like double oak.
The heavy oak stuff, right?
Yeah, I do like that.
I think you might end up liking that a lot. So, I mean, I would give it a 2.5. I do think it's a step above that 7-year.
I agree. Definitely it's better.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 3 because it has an intriguing flavor palette. New kind of things are happening as it's sitting here longer. So it's a kind of fun experience. To me, it's more of what I want bourbon to be like. So that's everything.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Are some of these bourbon manufacturers losing their soul?
Maybe they are. And like I said, like you giving it a 2.5 is pretty good.
I'm still saying there's something about it that rates itself higher than this current black. So now we're not comparing to standard Jim Beam, which might have been even more, but I felt like a 7 and 8 year comparison should be pretty.
Yeah, you would think that
good
something
comparison.
there would because of the aging.
So if you had the black, do you agree with us? Do you think this new Jim Beam black is something that's pretty hits right, or do you feel like it's just not hitting where you expected? And then have you had a dusty? Have you found one of these old cars or something from Jim Beam? Comes in a car sometimes. I mean, it's an animal. Sometimes a sculpture. But have you had one? And how did it? Have you compared it to other Jim Beam, modern Jim Beam?
Because it'd be interesting to know, where does that change happen?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just happened, like you were talking about. It happens with the master distiller and the people who are doing all the tastings through that process. I think everybody's palates change and adjust over time.
Yeah.
So I think this is what whiskey is to us today, but this was what whiskey was in the 1970s.
Hey, and I'm all about that, I guess.
Maybe we were both like that because it's 1983 whiskey.
Yeah.
In the meantime, you be sure to like, share, and
subscribe, and don't forget, ding our dong, because that's how we communicate to you that new things are happening.
And go grab your bottle of Jim Beam Black and let us know what you think about it. And if you find a dusty and you can do a comparison, we really would love to hear what you find out and what you feel.
Because hey, it's always an adventure, any kind of whiskey you pull out of the drawer. So we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the meantime, be safe and
Like, share, subscribe, and be cool.
cheers.
Hey, I'm just gonna drink this one.
So we just did a review,
Yeah, we did.
and we've been sitting here now since we ended this episode. So this is like the end credit scene of a Marvel film, right?
Yeah, right.
This does tend to keep getting better and better as we let this sit.
It opens up.
So if you have a Dusty and you find one, here's our final advice on that. You need to let it sit after you've poured it. And I mean like 5-10 minutes of sitting. Normally we're like, let it sit for a couple minutes, let it open and breathe and drink a whiskey. This is something that after you've cracked it open, it needs a good 5 or 10 minute wait.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed the notes and everything have changed dramatically after 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's
Oh, you need to find one of these because
an experience. It's great.
The corn and the caramel are starting to come out more. The wood is starting to soften.
But it's still
But it smells richer than this.
than the modern modern alternative by a long shot.
By a long shot. So hey, welcome to the end credit scene of Whiskey Pop. Cheers.